Welcome to the podcast today. My name is Jeremy Miner, host of Closers Losers. I'm traveling. This is my co-host, our CEO, Matt Ryder. Matt, how is Australia right now? What's going on over there?
Nothing much, man. Just, being the boring guys.
All right, so today we wanted to really go over what does it take to be a real sales professional? Not even just like the right sales skills, but like what does it take to be like a sales pro, a sales athlete compared to an average Joe, like an average salesperson? Like what are some of the qualities, like what are some of the traits that top salespeople possess that just bottom feeders or average salespeople just never really have? Matt, what are your thoughts on the subject? I know you wanted to talk about this.
We have a young company, I would say. Like a majority of our people are less than 25. One of the reasons why we do that is one, because like it gives us an opportunity to train someone with no bad habits, right? And the second thing is we can install the work ethic required to be a successful sales rep, because I think that, the top performing guy is still mediocre. And so they don't know what's possible. They don't see what's possible. And so they create bad habits and they get a skewed version of what like success and work is. Which is why, like for all of our guys, like I sat them down and gave them all a challenge, which they had to write up, which is how are you going to double your sales in September without getting any more leads? Like, how do you do it? Everyone had to sit there. I'm not going to help you do it. You guys have to plan it out. And it's like, this is what it takes to become a sales professional, not a closer or a fly-by-night sales guy, because you need to have strategies in place to constantly and consistently have a pipeline that you can fulfill. If something happens, every business, the business owner could go political. Look at Chick-fil-A, right? You know what I mean? Like you're running a B2B environment and, the CEO decides to say something horrendous or whatever, like that can dry up leads, but you need to have a pipeline thick enough to where you're self-sustaining.
I totally agree. Now, I will tell you, Chick-fil-A, I mean, when you do go to their lines here in the United States, there's 150 cars.
It must be good chicken.
It's crazy. Here in the United States, you drive into a Chick-fil-A, like I don't get political, you know me, I'm neutral, but you drive into like Chick-fil-A and there'll be 100 cars there and you're like the chicken doesn't taste that good to me. It's okay, but like everybody loves Chick-fil-A. But I agree with you. When people go political or whatever and they just start spouting off, you lose half of your leads because they think a different way than maybe you do. And now you're the salesperson and you're like, dude, my leads, like half of them are gone. What am I going to do? That's what you're talking about.
Exactly. So you have to, as a sales professional, you have to have redundancy strategies in place because like for me, the way that I looked at it is, and the way that I still got it today is like, I don't want to be reliant on any one individual for the safety and security and the finances of my family. I used to always look at myself as a business and I'd be like, okay, I need to have a marketing department, a sales department, and a delivery department. And so it's like, I need to have all those things so I can get clients, nurture clients, make sure clients are being serviced effectively within my business. And so I want to make sure that I'm constantly doing my own marketing strategies. I'm constantly having people pipeline through. And like that combined with the correct skill set is an unstoppable combination where you can make as much money as you could possibly want.
I think it's so true. Like if you want to be a professional salesperson, you want to make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year in commissions or more. It's not just your skill level. I mean, the skill level, I'd say is the most important because if you don't have skill level, you can do everything else right and you're just still going to get slapped in the face. Like you're just going to get beat up on every call. But it's all about like the right strategy. It's like treating it like your own business. Let's say you're a W-2 salesperson, you're employed by a company, or let's say you're a 1099 contractor, you work for a company as a contractor. You have to have a contingency plan like Matt talked about, because what happens if the marketing department their ads get shut down on Facebook for 2 months? What are you going to do then?
It happens.
It happens all the time. And it really happens in any industry. So, like when I was in sales in the industries I was in, I learned how to cold call as well. And I would say, a couple of the industries where I made close to $3 million a year in commissions, I would say only maybe 30 to 40% of those commissions came from the leads that the company generated for me. Okay. And the other salespeople, the rest, I probably got another 20 or 30% in referrals. And I would say I got 30 to 40% in cold calling. Now, if I didn't have those skills or develop those skills to get referrals and to cold calling, my income might have been 50 to 60% lower. I'd just be sitting around twiddling my thumbs all day, waiting for leads to book on my calendar. So if you want to be proactive, you go out there and you generate the business yourself. That makes you more valuable as a sales professional to the company you're working for, because they're not really spending money on the leads you're generating. You're doing that yourself. Maybe you're on LinkedIn and you're messaging, cold messaging clients. You have to learn the skills to learn the right questions that attract their attention to get them to want to engage, not like, how's the weather or who won the game, or I noticed you look really cool. I mean, nobody cares about that. They know what you're doing. So it's about generating your own leads, having a plan in place so that no matter what, if the company's leads go down, you're financially taken care of, your family's financially taken care of, and you don't really have to worry about it.
Yeah, like absolutely. And you can be a phenomenally skilled sales rep, and it doesn't make you a sales professional, doesn't make you a sales athlete. And you can be someone who is lower skilled, but you can do all the right things. You'll make the same amount of money as the guy who's tremendously skilled, but does none of the things. Like I mentor some sales reps, and some of them are phenomenally talented, but they kind of get lazy and they don't do the work, and they make the same money as the guy who is not talented, but does all the right things. But eventually that guy who does all the right things, when the skills catch up, that guy's unstoppable.
He's unstoppable.
And like a lot of the development that I'll do with younger sales reps is like, hey, listen, like the way that you can make more money right now, because sometimes, and a hard thing to hear when you're young is time takes time. Yeah. Sometimes it just takes a bit of time, a bit of reps, be patient, like apply the skill sets, get better at them, right? But the thing you can do right now today is what's your referral strategy? What's your lead generation strategy? What are the pools of influence that your company has created? Is there email lists? Is there old sales? Is there no shows, no sales, clients, current clients, old clients? Is there cold calling lists that maybe your guys have bought and paid for? Can you start a LinkedIn profile under the banner of your company and start doing outreach to try and get some deals there? Like there's no lack of things that you can be doing. And if you create those strategies, like those are things that'll get you more money without having to have more skill set today.
You're so true. I mean, we live in the information age. I mean, if you don't know how to do something, you just go learn it, right? You go to the experts who have the knowledge. Like we always talk about, biggest expense in life as a sales professional is your lack of knowledge of understanding and having the right skills that work with human behavior for you to make 200,000 a year in commissions, or 250 or 300 or 350 or higher. We have salespeople that make $300,000, $400,000, $500,000, $600,000 a year, not in sales, in commissions. Okay, there's a reason for that. All right, it's the skill level that Matt's talking about, but it's also doing the right things. They don't just sit around waiting for leads to be fed to them. Our clients, right? They go out and they're proactive and they do something, and they make sure that they set themselves apart from other people in their offices and all of their competition, because they're not just waiting on the company to give them leads. I see so many salespeople that jump from this job to that job because they don't have leads. And then, for 2 or 3, because they have leads, and then they don't have leads there. So then they hop to another company, and they're there 4 or 5 or 6 months, they have leads, and then something goes wrong. And so they hop over to this company. And because they're always hopping around, it's like all these little gaps of 2 weeks here, or 3 weeks here, or 4 weeks here with no leads, where they don't make much money. And that's why they're talented, but they don't make as much money as the other people who are more consistent in their lead generation process and cold calling and outreach than sitting around doing nothing, waiting for the company to spoon feed them.
It's funny. One of our most talented sales guys, I took him off the ability to have calls booked into his diary. He doubled his income that month.
I don't remember who that was. I remember you telling me, but I don't remember which rep that was.
A phenomenally good sales guy. I just said, listen, man, I need to teach you how to be a sales professional, and took it really, really well. Phenomenal dude. Like I got a lot of time for him, and he was just like, okay, took it as a challenge. I went, okay, and booked all of his own calls, did all of his own outreach, you know what I mean? And literally doubled his income in that month without getting booked calls.
Yeah.
It's like, that just goes to show, imagine if we add the book calls back in. But I was like, no, screw you. You can do another month like that. Like you can learn the lesson, and then we'll bring you back. But yeah, like, so it just goes to show, like, as managers and people who are mentoring people, you need to give people opportunity to be in a tough situation so they can show that they know how to get out of it, And so, I think for you and for me, like, I know for me, especially when I had to buy my own leads, like I had to pay, I was doing the marketing for a lot of the things that I was selling because I owned the business. So like my inherent value of a lead is very, very high.
Yeah.
So I was never going to let a lead just go away. And for you, you're obviously tremendously motivated by making shitloads of sales. So you did all the right things.
Yeah.
Because you know those are the right things to do. So
yeah. Well, I wasn't letting anybody in the office, companies I was with ever pass me. Like I was going to do whatever it took. So everybody knew there was really no competition with me. And this is out of thousands of salespeople that I was competing with in a few of those companies. A few of those other companies might have only had 100 reps, 150 reps, 200 reps, but there was two other industries where there was like 1,500, 2,000 reps. So how do I set myself apart from them? It's not just my sales skills, but it's just my time management skills, right? It's my blocking out prospecting time and not going into the kitchen and gossiping and talking about whatever at the office or having somebody come in and waste an hour of my time, right? I was continually focused on what I had to do to be number one, where nobody felt that they could even come close to touching me. And that's what I did. And that's, as a sales professional, you have to take on that mentality. That's why I love Kobe Bryant, the Mamba mentality of like, look, you're not going to outperform me because I'm always out learning you. I'm always out learning. And because I'm out learning you and I know what to do and I have those skill sets and I've acquired that skill level, there's nothing you can do to overtake me. And if you take on that mentality, you're just always going to do more. You're just going to do more. You're going to get better. You're going to get around the right people because you won't accept nothing less than that.
yeah, exactly. That's the same reason why I decided to go into like snipers when I was because I got into the military. I was like, okay, I want to join special forces because they're the best. And then I got into special forces and I was like, oh, who are those guys over there that everyone seems to be kind of idolizing? And I was like, oh, they're snipers. So I was like, oh, I should go do that. And then it's like, oh, what's the next coolest thing from there? The counterterrorism snipers are like the cream of the crop. I was like, okay, I'll go do that. And so it's like, that's that inbuilt drive to be the best. But like, even if you don't necessarily have that, it's like, just figure out where you want to get to. And then it's like, what's the plan that I need to get there? And I've learned this the hard way. Not everybody wants to go as far, right?
Sure.
Which is fine. Like, cause you need that in life. Like if everybody wanted to be the guy, then it would be a shit fight of a world.
Too many Chiefs, not enough Indians.
Exactly. And so figuring out where you want to get to, like what's a really, really strong, solid goal where you be super, super happy and it provides you the freedoms that you want to provide. Then from there, you're like, okay, well, if I need, let's say $30,000 a month, okay, how much do I get paid per sale? Okay, in order to make 30 sales, how many sales calls, I'll just use them as calls or call outs or meetings or whatever they are, do I need to have? Okay, in order to have that many conversations that can result in a sale, how many initial conversations or whatever sales process you have, how many of the beginning bit do I need to get that bit? And then from there, okay, well, how much can the company that I am with provide me? Okay, they can provide me enough to get 20. Okay, well, my goal is 30. I need to now create enough interest of my own accord to create 10 more sales, which might be 15 to 20 more sales interactions, which might be 35 more leads, right?
Yeah.
You just bridge that gap and you go, okay, what's my plan?
Yeah.
And then you want to go about 20% above that because of like redundancy. But that's how I've always done my plan.
Yeah, I think that's 100% accurate. I would say most salespeople have never really been taught how to plan. It's something we just added into our NEPQ 3.0 portal. We added a little bit more on like planning and goal management and time management over like everything else. Because most of our sales training, we get 22 hours in our sales training portal. That's just our virtual training platform. That's not our group coaching. We have hundreds of hours of all that, right? Those advanced skills, but just a virtual.
Also, I think we have 105 scripts now. Done for you scripts for like 17 different.
No. We have like 325.
Oh, really? I've been out of it for a while.
Now we have like 105 new ones from like the last 6 months. But like over the last 2.5 years, I think it's like 320 something that's the same. I don't know. We have a lot. Let's just say a lot of different industries, right? A lot of different scripts. But the point is, we're obviously big on tactical training, not, pump you up. Let's just set goals and let's just go out and hustle, because that's not going to get you very far. You're going to get slapped around when the prospect answers the phone and you start in on your quote unquote pitch and they're just going to slap you around. So you have to know the right questions, when to ask them at the right time, the right tonality. You have to know how to work with human behavior rather than against it. And that's most of our virtual training platform. I'd say it's 90% But here in the last 6 months, we started putting more in there, like time management. We call it PTO, prospect time blocking, or PTB, prospect time blocking. How do we block out prospecting time each day? Your organization or your company or your individual salesperson, how do you do that? How do you stay focused? How do you actually achieve the goals you've set rather than just writing them on a piece of paper and 3 months later, you're nowhere close to them? So we started adding a lot more to the virtual training platform, just outside of tactical training. How do you get there? Like, how do you go out and generate your own leads? Those type of things, which you're really, really talented at and that you talk a lot about. And, it helps salespeople, because they can have all the talent in the world, but let's say it's a company, like I said, their leads are down for a couple months straight and they're just sitting around rather than hopping to a different job. You can just do outreach, cold outreach through DMs, DM Messenger. Part of our virtual training course, we're coming out with the DM Messenger part of that as well. That's probably going to be an extra 2 or 3 hours course. That'll probably be out, I think, next quarter, probably.
Which is so relevant to today's selling in any marketplace, because if you can connect with your prospects on social media, even if you're selling cars, that's 5,000 prospects that you can have at any one time on your personal profile. So you might have a profile which is specific for business, John, the car sales guy, and you might cultivate that as a, not as a personal branding page type thing that you can interact with people. Even then, like LinkedIn, it's obviously slightly different messaging and all that kind of stuff, but there is so much business that's being done through different messaging text-based platforms. It's absolutely insane. We just set up a client that we do the sales training for them. They just closed a $200,000 deal, and 80% of it was done over Messenger.
Yeah, no, 100%. And the cool thing about it is I remember, like, even over a year ago, maybe 14 months ago, we didn't have any training on DMs or anything. And I remember even on our own team, they're like, how do you DM, whatever, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, I don't know. I've never done it. So what I did is I went in there and just figured out the formula. I basically used NEPQ, the exact sales process that a salesperson or a company would use on the phone or on Zoom or in person or door-to-door, B2B, B2C. And we tailored it a little bit more for DMs, and boom, what happened? Just, it blew up overnight. And people are like, oh my gosh, everybody's booking with us. I had never done that before, but I took, how do I use human behavior to my advantage in DMs? And it just blew up.
Yeah. Now we're working on LinkedIn.
Now we're working on LinkedIn, which is a whole different beast.
It's a whole different beast. So I think, like, just, setting aside, if you're watching this and you're a sales guy or a sales lady, or, you're even a business owner that wants to really, really maximize the sales, first things first, put yourself in a position to where you can increase your skill set. If you don't have anywhere to go to now and you listen to this and you're not in the Sales Revolution Facebook group, go in there. We go live all the time, lots and lots of free training. And then from there, like, just sit down. That's what I told all the sales guys. I said, sit down. And I said, this is your problem to solve. What areas of influence has the business that you work for created? Where can you get in touch with potential prospects? What can you do to leverage the pipeline that you currently have? How can you get the clients that you've sold to become more clients? How can you upsell, cross-sell? Think about all the different ways that you can make sales, which get you more income, get you more commission, and that helps the prospects, right? And then just solve the problem. Come up with 4 or 5 different strategies and employ 2 or 3 of them at a time. Have a look at the efficacy and figure out which ones you're going to keep in your regular rotation.
Yeah, I totally agree. So we're going to end it a little bit quicker. I'm on a little trip. I'm up at the lake house the rest of this week. We wanted to definitely get another podcast for you guys. We typically do 2 shows a week, so we don't want to skip out.
Over 100 shows.
We are like 101, 102 right now, something like that. We just hit 100 mark. We just started. I don't even know what it was. Like, I don't think it was a year ago.
Content beasts.
Lots of content beasts. We're always at it. So if you haven't joined, you're on the show, you're like, hey man, these guys can help us, go to our Facebook group, Sales Revolution. We have about 10,000 sales professionals in there that are in all sorts of fields, hundreds of different industries. Okay. B2B, B2C, doesn't matter. Got business owners, entrepreneurs, coaches, sales professionals, consultants. They're all in there. We go live in there about 3 to 4 times a week with different Q&A sessions. In fact, I'm going live with a 35-minute Q&A tomorrow. You can ask me anything, any question on your mind on sales in that Facebook group. Tuesdays, we typically do about a 30, 40-minute training on various subjects that we pull from the audience. Wednesdays, we typically interview 1 or 2 of our clients. We do that religiously every single week. I don't know, I've interviewed like 70 or 80 clients in there.
No one does that. No one has enough happy clients. That's why.
No, nobody has that many clients. We have almost 4,000 testimonials. I think it's 3,600 something. I just saw 3 or 4 more come in the last couple hours. We haven't counted those. So It's almost like 3,700 testimonials, very close, 3,000. I don't know what it is, something like that, 675 or whatever. It just grows every day. And there's a reason for that. And that's in the last 2.5 years. Nobody has that. Our clients come to us, like we sold for other sales training companies, like nobody has a third of your testimonies that have been around for 20 years. Okay. There's a reason for that. It's learning skills that work with human behavior rather than against it. So if you want to learn those type of skills, you want to start earning, 2-3 times more than what you're earning now, maybe even more, like thousands of our clients are doing right now, one of our clients even posted, look, if you're not in their training courses, you are losing sales that you would be making. And it's like, if you don't sharpen your sword with these skills, there are other salespeople out there that are competing against you that are going to crush you. And you are going to get left behind if you don't learn these skills, because the message is getting out. We are training thousands of salespeople at this point, hundreds of different companies. It's only a matter of time till your competition that you're competing on gets these skills and you get left behind. So go in there, Sales Revolution, you join for free. There's like a 2 or 3 question survey when you join, finding out what industry you're in, what your products is, services you sell, your price points, just good for our data. So we know how to help you better. And then right when you join, somebody in our team will private message you on Facebook Messenger. So check your messages. We message you over a free 35-minute training on objection prevention, not even objection handling. We're going to start you there. How do you prevent objections from even happening in your prospect's mind? But you've never learned those.
I have a few laydowns. A few laydowns every now and then would never go astray, right?
It's much easier and a lot more profitable to get way more laydowns. So we're going to teach you questions to ask in your sales process. Doesn't matter your product, service, or industry, that help your prospect, what prevents objections from even entering in their mind. Ninja Yoda stuff. So Sales Revolution, Matt, we'll see you next week. Enjoy the rest of the week. Appreciate you, man. Can't wait to get over to our new office in Sydney, Australia. Still haven't seen it from COVID, but I guess one of these decades we'll be able to come over.
One day. All right, guys. Thank you.
One day. All right, everybody. Thanks.
Hey guys, if you enjoyed these, here's another you can watch right over here. Join our free Sales Revolution group. Click the link below, join us, and we're gonna help you. Thanks for watching. We'll see you real soon.